Right now, you're probably holding on to the belief this video will change something for you. Maybe fix that thing you've been wrestling with. Maybe give you the answer you've been hunting for. And that hope, that exact feeling you're experiencing right now, Buddha called it the invisible chain. I know it sounds completely backwards. We're told hope is good. Hope is what keeps us going. Hope is what separates us from, well, people who've given up. But here's what nobody talks about. While you've been hoping for your life to start, your actual life has been happening, and you've been missing it. Buddha saw this trap 2,500 years ago. He called it tanha, the thirst that's never satisfied. We call it motivation. Same prison, different marketing. Listen, I spent years living like this, always hoping for the next thing to make everything click. The job that finally feels right, the relationship where I finally feel whole, the version of myself I can finally stand to be around. And you know what I realized? I wasn't living, I was rehearsing to live. There's a profound difference. So if you're ready to stop asking permission to start your actual life, stick around. Because what I'm about to show you is going to mess with everything you think you know about hope. And yeah, this might sting. Good. Hope feels like you're doing something, like you're moving forward, like you're getting somewhere. But hope is the candy-coated delay button. You keep pressing it thinking you're making progress, but all you're doing is avoiding right now. I see this everywhere. People scrolling through job listings they're never going to apply to, hoping their ex will text back so they don't have to actually move on. Waiting for Monday to start that diet, Tuesday to have that conversation, next month to finally make the change. Hope becomes this beautiful excuse for not engaging with what's actually happening in your life. You tell yourself you're being optimistic, you're being positive, you're keeping the vision alive. Really? You're procrastinating with good marketing, because here's the thing about hope. It always lives tomorrow, never today. Hope promises you that happiness is coming, eventually. That peace is on its way, soon. That your real life will start later. And while you're busy hoping for tomorrow to save you, today disappears. Then another today, then another. Hope feels like motion, but it's emotional quicksand. You're not moving toward anything. You're stuck in the waiting room of your own life, believing someone will call your name. Buddha didn't say dream big. He said let go. Because every hope you have is attachment in disguise, and attachment is the root of suffering. Now I know this sounds harsh. We live in a culture that worships hope. Vision boards, manifestation, positive thinking, it's all craving with better branding. But Buddha saw through it. In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, he taught, the origin of suffering is craving. And when we cling to that craving, that's when suffering takes root. The Buddha didn't say suffering comes from failure. He said it comes from craving. That's the second noble truth. And hope? It's craving with better PR. Think about it. When you hope for something, you're essentially saying, I'm not okay right now, but I will be when this thing happens. That's the trap. It's not the wanting that destroys us. It's never being okay without the thing we want. Whether it's swiping on dating apps, chasing startup dreams, or meditating to feel enlightened enough, it's all the same fuel, craving dressed as vision. Here's what Buddha actually taught. Even he had a goal, awakening. But he wasn't miserable while working toward it. He wasn't broken without it. The difference? He wasn't hoping for enlightenment to fix him. He was already walking the path with presence, not desperation. I've been all three types of hope addicts. The entrepreneur with the vision board, the guy chasing the perfect partner, the meditation junkie who secretly wanted to be enlightened and admired. I hoped so hard I practically dislocated my soul. The dating apps were the worst. 3 years of swiping, hoping to find the one. Know what happened? I became an expert at disappointment, because every swipe right was hope. And every match that didn't work out was suffering. The pattern was brutal. Hope, excitement, disappointment, repeat. Until I realized I wasn't looking for love. I was hoping love would fix the emptiness I felt alone. Same with meditation. I'd sit there, not seeking peace, but hoping people would see how spiritual I was. I was treating Buddhism like a personality upgrade. And you know what all that hoping got me? A really sophisticated way to avoid my actual life. When you're addicted to hope, the present moment becomes this inconvenient obstacle between you and your imagined future. You're not really here. You're mentally rehearsing next week, planning next month, fantasizing about next year. Your body is sitting at your desk, but your mind is already at the beach house you're going to buy when you finally make it. Your partner is trying to connect, but you're stuck wishing they'd change. Your kids need your presence, but you're too busy hoping you'll become the parent they deserve later. Hope made a lot of promises, but it never paid rent in my actual life. The worst part? Hope addiction feels productive. It feels like you're working on yourself, like you're being proactive. Really, you're avoiding the one thing that could actually change everything. Right now, like drinking salt water, the more you gulp, the thirstier you get. The real magic happens when you stop waiting, stop needing, stop requiring tomorrow to be different than today. When you finally show up, right here, right now, without needing anything to change, that's where life actually exists. The Bhattikarata Sutta puts it perfectly. Do not chase the past. Do not seek the future. What is past is left behind. The future is as yet unreached. Whatever phenomenon is present, see it clearly. Present moment awareness without future projection, action without attachment to results, peace that doesn't depend on circumstances improving. Now hold on, I'm not saying give up on your dreams. I'm not saying become some Zen robot who doesn't care about anything. That's not freedom. That's depression with better PR. There's a profound difference between having a direction and being addicted to the destination. This isn't about giving up direction. It's about dropping the desperation. Buddhists call it right intention, action that comes from clarity, not craving. Here's the weird thing I noticed. The best things in my life showed up when I stopped chasing them. The job opportunities came when I was focused on doing good work, not hunting for escape. The relationship happened when I was genuinely happy, alone, not desperately swiping. It's like the universe has this twisted sense of humor. When you're grabbing for something, it slips away. When you're present with what you're doing, doors open. Hope can guide you. Don't let hope's leash drag you around. The shift is internal. Are you creating from excitement or from terror that you're not enough without the thing you're hoping for? When you stop outsourcing your peace to tomorrow, you don't lose motivation. You find the only motivation that actually works, the kind that doesn't collapse when things get hard. And yeah, this is terrifying, because if you're not hoping for tomorrow to save you, then you have to deal with today, all of it, the good, the messy, the incomplete. But here's what Buddha figured out. He wasn't selling comfort. He was offering escape, not from the world, but from needing it to be different. Quitting hope feels like quitting caffeine. At first, you're a mess. You feel purposeless, lost. Like, what's the point of doing anything if you're not hoping it leads somewhere better? But then, you get clear. You stop outsourcing your peace to a maybe. You start acting from what is not what you wish were true. You can still want things. You can still dream, plan, work toward goals. The shift happens inside. Buddha taught that everything is impermanent, anicca. But hope tries to freeze the future into something solid. And that illusion? It's what keeps us chasing instead of living. Skillful intention versus craving. Creating from presence versus creating from desperation. You're not waiting anymore. You're not running on fumes from tomorrow anymore. You're doing. And the crazy thing? When you stop needing the future to fix you, you actually start building a future worth having. From the Dhammapada. All conditioned things are unsatisfactory. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. You don't need a better day to begin. You need today's honesty and presence. Buddha never promised things would go your way. He promised you could be free, even when they don't. So, for the next 24 hours, catch yourself hoping. Notice it, and ask yourself, what would I do if I wasn't waiting anymore? What would you create if you weren't hoping for permission? What would you say if you weren't hoping for the perfect moment? Who would you become if you stopped waiting to be someone else? Let go of hope. And in the silence that follows, you might find something better. Clarity, courage, presence. The breakthrough wasn't a shiny new future. It was finally being done chasing one. In the fire sermon, Buddha taught, the eye is burning, forms are burning, eye consciousness is burning. He was talking about how our senses burn with craving, with desire, with becoming. And hope? It's the flame we feed thinking it'll keep us warm, but it leaves us restless. Buddha sat under that Bodhi tree, not hoping for enlightenment, but finally done with the exhausting game of waiting for tomorrow to save him. That moment, when he stopped hoping to become someone else, that's when he became the Buddha. In the legends, when Mara challenged the Buddha, he didn't fight back. He simply touched the earth. That was the moment. He wasn't reaching for the future. He was rooting in what is. That's the gesture of freedom. This video won't save you, and that's the point. Because you were never stuck. You were hoping for someone else to do what only you can. Stop hoping. Start living. If this shattered something in you, don't wait for others to find it. Share it. And tell me in the comments, what are you ready to stop waiting for?